So, Brandon Sanderson just released his State of the Sanderson, and boy, do we got some big news to go over. And we're just going to be going over the highlights of it. It's a pretty long document, so if you want to go read it, I'll have the link for the full copy of it down below in the description. But without wasting another moment, let's get into it. So, I know. What everyone's waiting on is the big Hollywood announcement. What's going on with the movie? What's going on with the Mistborn adaptation? We don't know. He still can't say anything. He says it's all going well and he's really happy with how it's going, but that to do things in Hollywood, especially to do them correctly, takes time. So he's hoping by this time next year he'll have something he can announce, but it may not even be then. Unfortunately, we have to wait. But things are still moving in the right direction in that regard. So at least that is some kind of news. So 2023 is upcoming, going to be the year of Sanderson, and that's mostly because of the Kickstarter that he did, most successful Kickstarter of all time. And so if you are a backer on that Kickstarter, if you gave money to that Kickstarter, you should be getting an email, if you haven't got one already, about how to get your books, if you got ebooks and audiobooks. And a lot of you did, so check that email. And if you haven't got it yet, be on the lookout for it. In regards to the physical books and the swag boxes to do with the Kickstarter campaign, those are going to be a little late, unfortunately. So they had some supply chain issues earlier on that delayed it a little bit. And right now they are getting hit with a massive snowstorm that's slowing down the process even more. So unfortunately, those books will be a little late coming out, but the ebook and audiobooks will be on the 1st of January. You'll be able to get those. It's just the physical books will take just a little bit longer to get to you. And speaking of the audiobooks for the Kickstarter, Brandon Sanderson kind of took a big chunk of his State of the Sanderson to just bash on Audible. He says he likes the company. He likes a lot of the people that work at the company, but he absolutely slammed them for what they are doing to authors, especially indie authors. And I personally think it's amazing and incredible and shows a lot about Brandon Sanderson, that he is not only publicly announcing that he is, at odds with what Audible is doing for indie authors, but is actively not putting his books up with them. That's a big deal. They sold a lot of books and they're going to sell a lot more of these secret novels. And he has just outright said Audible cannot have any of that money because I don't like how they're treating authors. That's big. I think that's big. And just a quick review of that. Audible, if an author sells through Audible, they get 40% of the sale of it. Industry standard for author's cut is, or creator's cut, is closer to 70%. So Audible being at 40 is it's crazy. And then also on top of that, if you decide not to be exclusive with Audible, that gets knocked down to 25% that the author gets. And that's absolutely crazy. And I agree with Brandon Sanderson on that. That needs to change, and Audible needs some competition. Speaking of that competition, if it's not going to be on Audible, where are these books going to be? And he has made a deal with Spotify to have his books on there. These 4 secret novels. He was not able to disclose what the author percentage cut was on that deal, unfortunately. He also made a deal with Speechify, no relation to Spotify, to have his books put on there as well. That deal he was able to elaborate on a little bit. They actually offered him 100% of the sales. They flat out said, if you will put your books with us, we won't even take any of the cut from it. You can have all of it. And he turned that down and said, what can you give to authors typically? What's the best deal you can make for every author out there? And they said, we can do a 70% cut that will go to the authors. And he said, all right, I want that deal. Don't treat me special. Give me the same deal that you'll be able to give to everybody else. And that's crazy. Who does that? Who does that? I'm not sure if Sanderson has spoken the ideals yet or not, but if there's not been a Spren, lurking around watching for him, there should be now. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you didn't back the Kickstarter and you want these audiobooks, they will be available not on the 1st of the month, but on the 10th of the month. The 10th of that month, you can go to Spotify or Speechify and purchase that audiobook for yourself. And he has said that he's going to set the prices at those at about $15 which is equal to what a credit at Audible would cost. So you ended up not paying more by not using Audible, which, again, I think it's an excellent move. Just a stand-up guy kind of move. Now, if you didn't back the Kickstarter and you want a physical book, you got two different options on that. One, Tor will be releasing the physical copies of the books, so you can go that route. Or you can go directly through Dragonsteel, which is Brandon Sanderson's company, and get the premium books. And you can also get the swag boxes to go along with it if you want to. Those, it's going to be a little more of a delay between when the backers get it and when you can buy it. So with the ebook and audiobooks, it's about a 10-day window of when the backers will get it versus when you can go purchase it. With the physical books, just to make sure they can get all the backers their books before they start selling it, it's going to be a 3-month delay on that. So you'll have to wait just a little while if you want the physical books. You can pre-order, at least on Dragonsteel, on the 10th of the month. So the same time that the audiobooks and the ebooks become available for purchase, you can pre-order on Dragonsteel. And if you are wanting one of the premium ones, I don't know how many they're going to be selling, but I would recommend probably trying to get your pre-order in on the 10th or as soon as possible, because I imagine those are going to sell pretty fast. All right, and that covers everything for the Kickstarter updates and the secret novels stuff. And this is where we get into the actual news. So we finally have a book title for Stormlight 5. He does say that there's a possibility for change, but we have a title so far, and that is Knights of Wind and Truth. Not my favorite of the books, but I think it gives you a little insight into what we can be expecting in book 5. And now we can stop calling it book 5 and we can start calling it by its name, Knights of Wind and Truth. He also said that should be released 2024. So after the year of Sanderson is over, then we can look forward to getting book 5 of the Stormlight Archive out, which will be the last book in the first arc of the Stormlight series. If you're not caught up, Stormlight series is planned out to be 10 books long. First 4 are already out. This will be the 5th book, wrapping up the first arc in it, and then you'll have 5 more books on a different arc. A little complicated, but that's what you get in the Cosmere. And this year, 2022, of course, saw us wrap up Mistborn Era 2. But we know we got more coming. We got Mistborn Era 3 coming, and he says you can expect some news on that in 2024. So after he finishes writing the Stormlight Archive Book 5 and has that ready to go, then he's going to start putting a little more attention into the 3rd era and getting that all figured out and worked out. So that'll be some really exciting news. I know that's something he's been really wanting to write for a long time, so I know he has a ton of ideas on what he wants to do, and it's just going to be really fun seeing that come together into some kind of crazy Mistborn sci-fi technology magic world. And as you probably know, and you've probably heard, that Dan Wells is now working with Brandon Sanderson as a, forget his title, narrative, something or another, but he's writing books for Brandon with the idea he'll eventually be writing Cosmere books with Brandon and for Brandon. Their first project that they got coming out, first thing we'll be able to get a real taste of, is something a little different. They are doing something in the Dark One world, which is a graphic novel they put out a while back, but this is going to be in the style of a fake true crime podcast. So we'll see how that goes. I have no clue what to expect from a Brandon Sanderson, Dan Wells, Dark One, fake true crime podcast. But that's what we're getting. So, and Dan also has written a little in the State of Sanderson. They go through department by department and have somebody kind of talk a little bit about each department. And in Dan's case, he actually says he's already started working on a Cosmere novel, which is big news. He says they were able to find a corner of the Cosmere and of the fantasy market that is being underserved, and they think they've gotten something fun and interesting they can do with that. It's still in more of the brainstorming, outlining phase, but the wheels are already turning there. So be expecting in the future the amount of Cosmere material we get to be ramped up, which is really just hard to even fathom. And what was the biggest news for me, and the most exciting news for me, is Mistborn, the original trilogy, is getting new covers from Tor. They've announced them, they've released them. I've looked at them, they look amazing. These are, without doubt, other than like the Dragonsteel leather bound, $200 a copy ones, these are without doubt my favorite covers so far. I've said in the past, Mistborn is a dark, gritty world. It's got tons of, the black ash, the red sky. It's what you want color palette wise for a cover. And then finally, they give us covers that are not purple, which makes me so happy. But yes, these covers are incredible. I'm going to be buying them. They're going to be on my shelf. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about these covers. I'm giddy over them. I want them now. I want to print them out. I want posters on the wall of them. I need them. I need them. Comment down below on what you thought of these highlights for the State of the Sanderson. What are you excited for upcoming? What was your favorite part of 2022 as far as Cosmere and Sanderson was concerned? And like I said, I'll have a link down below in the description to the full article that you can read on his website. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.